Brad Pitt to a girl who dresses as a guy who's 5'1", 118 pounds. That's the person that's going to be playing the greatest warrior.
The Odyssey official trailer on YouTube has now become the most disliked movie trailer in Christopher Nolan's career.
Brad Pitt spent 6 months turning himself into a Bronze Age killing machine. He didn't use shortcuts, didn't use a stunt double, didn't phone in a single frame. He gained 30 pounds of muscle, trained with real military combat instructors, and ran up a beach in 80 pounds of bronze armor in one take. That performance from 2004 is now quietly destroying a $250 million movie that hasn't even opened yet. And Brad Pitt hasn't said a single word about it. If you're new here, please hit subscribe before we go any further, because what I'm walking you through today connects dots that most entertainment coverage is completely missing. Let me set the scene. It's April 2003. Wolfgang Petersen is in pre-production on Troy for Warner Bros. $175 million budget, Homer's Iliad as source material, the full Trojan War treatment. Brad Pitt is 39 years old, coming off Ocean's 11, and he gets the call to play Achilles. Not a Greek general, not a side character Achilles. The greatest warrior in Western literature. What does Pitt do? He hires Greg Zugaro, one of the most respected physical trainers in Hollywood. He commits to 6 days a week in the gym for 6 consecutive months. He puts on 30 pounds of pure muscle, no performance enhancers, no shortcuts. Then he trains in sword combat, spear work, shield work, and Bronze Age footwork with actual military combat instructors. By the time cameras rolled, Petersen later said, he earned the role with his body, not with politics, not with quotas with sweat. That's not a publicist quote. That's a director describing what the standard was. The result? One of the most visually commanding performances in modern Hollywood. The scene where Achilles charges the beach at Troy full bronze armor, real sand. Real distance Pitt did it in one take. That footage is still, 22 years later, the definitive visual reference for Greek warrior masculinity in cinema. Troy opened in May 2004 and made $497 million worldwide. Pitt's Achilles became a generational reference point posters in every dorm room Halloween costumes for a decade, a character that audiences genuinely believed. Not because of CGI, because the work was real and visible on screen. That's what we're measuring everything else against. Keep that in mind. Now here's where the story gets complicated, and this is the part most people covering the Nolan Odyssey controversy are completely skipping over. Christopher Nolan in 2003 was one of the hottest young directors in Hollywood. Memento had made him famous. Insomnia had just dropped. And Warner Bros., the same studio behind Troy, came to Nolan and offered him the film. He could have directed Brad Pitt as Achilles, real Greek mythology, Wolfgang Petersen's vision, classical casting philosophy already in place. Nolan turned it down. According to IMDb News, he passed on Troy to make Batman Begins instead. He picked the superhero franchise over the Greek epic. That was a rational career move in 2003 Marvel, and DC were ascending, the money was there, the cultural relevance was obvious. Fast forward 22 years. Superheroes have collapsed. Marvel's box office is a fraction of what it was at its peak. DC has been completely restructured. And now Nolan comes back to Greek mythology. The same source material, the same ancient world he passed on in 2003. Except the version he's making now looks nothing like what Petersen built. This isn't a minor point. Nolan had his shot at a classically cast Greek epic. He passed. The version he's chosen to make, 2 decades later, is the one that's generating the controversy we're about to get into. Stay with me here, because the casting situation for Nolan's The Odyssey is more layered than the headlines are letting on, and there's a specific detail in the trailer that's driving most of the speculation. I want to walk through all of it properly. Subscribe if you haven't, and keep watching. Here's what's being reported. On May 25th, MovieWeb published a piece titled "Elliot Page is taking over Brad Pitt's character in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey." Comic Basics ran a similar piece on May 28th. Elliot Page replacing Brad Pitt in Nolan's The Odyssey New Theory has fans talking. Collider, on May 25th, reported that Elliot Page is rumored to be portraying the ghost of Achilles. And Newsbusters, on May 13th, covered the furor that had already been building around the rumored casting of a trans actor in the role. 4 mainstream entertainment outlets, all confirming the same rumor, all within the same window in late May 2026. Here's what's fueling it. In Nolan's trailer released on May 4th, there's a brief shot of figure standing in a misty underworld setting, delivering the line, "Who's looking after your wife and son?" That's not a throwaway line. That is a direct pull from Book 11 of the Odyssey, the exact moment the ghost of Achilles confronts Odysseus in the underworld. In Homer, it's the greatest warrior who ever lived, reduced to a shade, asking a living man about family life he'll never have again. It's one of the most emotionally loaded passages in ancient literature. The figure delivering that line in the trailer has Elliot Page's build, Page's presence, and Page's voice, according to multiple outlets analyzing the footage. Universal Pictures has not denied it. Nolan has not denied it. The silence has been consistent since the rumor broke. For context, Elliot Page is 5'1". In Homer's source material, Achilles is described as physically enormous, a Bronze Age warrior who personally killed the entire Trojan royal family, the most feared fighter in ancient literature. The physical disparity alone is what's driving most of the audience response, not ideology. When you go from Brad Pitt's preparation and physical presence to a casting choice with no reported physical transformation and no combat training, the audience registers it as a departure from the standard the material demands. Robbie Starbucks, with over 1 million followers on X, put it directly on May 9th, "You can't go from Brad Pitt as Achilles to a confused woman and expect an audience to take it seriously." That's blunt, and that's what's circulating in the broader cultural conversation around this film. Elon Musk weighed in earlier, on January 31st, 2026. With 5 words directed at Nolan over the film's overall casting, Chris Nolan has lost his integrity. That tweet, from an account with over 200 million followers, came before the Achilles rumor had even fully broken. It was primarily in response to the casting of Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy, which had already generated significant audience pushback. The full confirmed cast, for the record, Matt Damon as Odysseus, Tom Holland as Telemachus, Lupita Nyong'o as Helen, Travis Scott as a Greek bard, Charlize Theron as Circe, John Leguizamo in a yet unnamed role. Elliot Page as Achilles remains a rumor unconfirmed, but also uncorrected. Now look at the tracking data, because this is where the business reality becomes undeniable. The Odyssey trailer has accumulated 74,000 dislikes, the most of any Nolan trailer in recorded history. Quorum tracking data showed audience interest dropped from 54 to 46 within 3 weeks of the trailer's release. 8 points gone. For reference, that puts the film tracking below Scary Movie 6, not below a competing prestige drama, below a horror parody franchise entry. That is not a small number for a $250 million production. Wolfgang Petersen's quote from the Troy era is worth returning to here. He earned the role with his body, not with politics, not with quotas with sweat. That standard physical preparation, casting credibility, respect for source material is what audiences internalized in 2004. It became the benchmark. Every subsequent Greek epic, every sword and sandal epic gets measured against it. What Nolan is offering in 2026, same source material, diametrically opposite casting philosophy, is being rejected by that same audience. Not because taste changed, because the benchmark still exists. Brad Pitt's footage still exists on every streaming service, on DVD shelves, in late-night cable reruns. It hasn't aged out. It hasn't been replaced. It just sits there as a comparison point that Nolan cannot escape. Here's the projection. The Odyssey opens July 17, 2026. Best case scenario for Universal, based on current tracking $300 million worldwide, roughly half of Oppenheimer. Worst case, under $200 million, which at a $250 million production budget plus marketing costs would be a significant financial loss and a genuine career inflection point for Nolan. Brad Pitt will say nothing. He doesn't need to. His work from 2004 is doing exactly what great work does. It outlasts the moment it was made in, and it raises the standard for everything that comes after it. The old Hollywood asked actors to earn their roles physically, emotionally, technically. The new Hollywood asks them to fulfill a different set of criteria. Whether that trade-off translates to box office is about to be answered with a very large number in July. If you want to follow how this plays out, the opening weekend numbers, the critical reception, the long-term fallout, subscribe. We cover Hollywood with the same standard Peterson described, facts earned with work, not spin. Drop a comment below. Do you think the Odyssey tracking recovers before July, or is the audience decision already locked in? I read every single one. This is the channel. See you in the next one.